Hello student, welcome back to our online teaching program. So today in this video we will discuss the solution of the worksheet number 2 that is given in the previous video. Then we will discuss some of the activity which are given in the textbook. So now first let's start with our worksheet number 2. Here's the solutions are there, that means the answers are there. Chapter number 3, motion and time, and worksheet number 2. 3 sections are there. A section very short. Which scientific term is used to distinguish between fast and a slow motion? So here you have to mention the name of the term. So the answer is the scientific term. Speed is used to distinguish between fast and slow motion. So to differentiate between the fast and the slow motion, the term which we use is the speed. So speed is the answer. Then question number 2. What is the device containing a metallic bob suspended with the help of a string cord? So here the question is asking about the name of the instrument, device. This device is also known as instrument that contain a metallic ball which is suspended with the help of a string cord. So here we have to name the device. So the device containing a metallic bob suspended with the help of a string is called simple pendulum. So this simple pendulum is the name of the device which contain a metallic bob with the help suspended with the help of a string. Then question number 3. What is the maximum displacement of the bob from its mean position called? So the maximum, here they are asking maximum displacement means maximum distance of that metallic bob from its mean position. Mean position is the rest position of the simple pendulum. So here the question is asking that maximum, what is the name for the maximum distance from the rest position? So the answer is the maximum displacement of the bob from its mean position is called amplitude. So that maximum distance from the rest position is called amplitude. Then question number 4. What is SI unit of speed? SI means International Standard Unit. So here asking the International Standard Unit of Speed. So standard SI unit of speed is meter per second. Because in the speed is what? Speed is equal to distance traveled divided by time taken. So therefore distance, the unit of distance is meter and unit of time is seconds. So therefore the SI unit of speed is meter per second. Then question number 5. Which physical quantity is measured by odometer? This odometer, here asking that odometer is an instrument. So with the help of which odometer, what physical quantity we measure? So here the distance is the physical quantity which is measured by odometer. This odometer is found in the scooter, found in the car, found in the bus. So this odometer, this device used to know the distance that is covered by that car or that scooter. Then in B section, short answer type question. Question number 1, define speed. So here you have to write the definition of the speed. So the distance traveled by an object in unit time is called its speed. Then define non-uniform motion. Give one example. So here you have to write the definition of non-uniform motion. A body is said to have a non-uniform motion when it travels unequal distances in an equal interval of time. An example is that when a body moves with a changing speed in a straight line. So you can also write it the motion of a car or a scooter, because a car or a scooter, they travel in a straight road. So that motion is a non-uniform motion, because sometimes what happens, the scooter speeds up, sometimes it becomes slow. So that means what? The motion is not uniform. So therefore it is an example of non-uniform motion. Then question number 3, define uniform motion. Give one example. So here in uniform motion, you have to write the definition of uniform motion. A body is said to have uniform motion when it travels equal distances in equal interval of time. Time is also in same equal interval of time, they travel equal distances. So example is that earth moving around the sun. So the earth while moving the sun, it takes equal time So therefore it travel equal distances in equal interval of time, so therefore it is an example of uniform motion. Then long answer, C section, long answer type question. Question number 1, define average speed. What are its unit? How it can be measured? Here you have to write about the definition of average speed, and then you have to write the units. Unit mean you have to write the international standard unit. Then how it can be measured, how average speed can be measured, you have to write it. So here the answer is said, the total distance traveled by an object divided by the total time taken by the object is called its average speed. So this average speed can be, you can write it this way, average speed is equal to total distance covered divided by total time taken. So from this formula you can write you can write the units also, like here its unit are like distance, the unit of smallest unit of distance is centimeter, then meter, then kilometer, and the time is the smallest unit is second, minute, hour. So here you can write it, one is units are centimeter per second, meter per minute, or kilometer per hour. Then it can be measured. So speed, we have studied about two instruments, one is odometer and one speedometer. Odometer is used for measuring the speedometer is for measuring the speed, and odometer is used to measure the distance. So here they are asking that how can it be measured, that means how the average speed can be measured. So speed can be measured with the help of speedometer. So these are the answer for the worksheet number 2 for the chapter number 3, motion and time. So now let's start with our activity. So in your book few activities are there. So here it is the activity number 1. In activity number 1 it is said that activities that to identify that type of motion in some typical motions. So we have already learned in our previous chapter, and you have already learned in your 6th standard also the different types of motions, right? So here what happens, you have to write the procedure is that recall the various types of motion and write again each of the motion listed below. So here a table like is given. So in this table it is divided into two parts here, and columns are there. In one, at the headline it is given motion, and in the side you have to write the type of motion. So here you have to mention the different type of motion which you have already learned in your 6th standard, or you have learned in our previous video also. So here for example, one example is given, that motion of a flying bird. So motion of a flying bird, the type of the motion in the flying bird is what? Random motion. Random motion, it always changes the direction, it never constant. It motion changes in different direction, changes with time. So therefore it is a random motion, because the bird can fly in different direction, it can change its position also. So therefore the type of motion is random motion. So here few another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 10 are given. Motion of a horse pulling cart on a straight road. So here you have different motions of different objects are given. So you have to find out that what type of motion they have. So here in this right side you have to write the type of the motion. So you have to do this activity in your copy. You have to find the answer, and then you have to write down here in your right side. You have to write down the type of the motions. So this is the first activity, and you have to do in your notebook. Then our second activity is that to determine the time period of a simple pendulum. Now here the question is, in this activity what you have to find out? You have to find out the time period of a simple pendulum. So for finding out the time period means, in our previous video we have already learned that time period. Here it is given the formula. Time period is equal to total time taken divided by number of oscillation. This is the how we can calculate the time period. First of all, we have to the total time you have to put it here, then the divided by then how number of oscillation we have to give here. So by this formula we can find out the time periods. Now how can we find out time period? For that we have to first prepare a simple pendulum, and for this preparation of the simple pendulum, the what material we are required? Here it is given material required. So first, in a simple pendulum we know that it has a bob, it has a string, and with the help of that we can make a simple pendulum. So to find a time period, the material required are first metallic bob, second string or thread, then stopwatch, and then meter scale. Then here the procedures are given. Follow the steps given below. The procedures are there. First you have to set up a simple pendulum with a metallic bob and a string of 1 meter length. The string, that means the thread, must be 1 meter long and the bob should be above 2-3 centimeter above the floor. So when you supposed to keep the simple pendulum, it must be above the floor 2-3 centimeter above. Then you have to switch off the fan if any in the room, and you have to close the window if you close to a walking table. And first you have the bob must come to rest at its mean position. That means at first the bob must be at mean position, or that is at rest position. Then we have to mark the rest position on the floor with the help of the chalk. You can mark it, or with the help of the marker you can mark it on the floor. Then take the bob slightly on the right side, then slightly you're keeping the string taut. That means you have to slightly pull out the string and release it gently so that it starts moving to and fro. This way it can move to and fro. So at that time, what do? You have to start the stopwatch, or you have to note down the time in your watch when the bob is at any fixed point. Say suppose it is at the A position, it is at fixed point. You have to note down the time. Then while you are gently when the bob is slightly release, at that time you have to count the number of oscillation. As soon as the bob complete 20 or any number oscillation, stop the watch. Here it has given that a number of oscillation is taking 20. That means you have to find out that in 20 oscillation how much time it takes. So here stop the stopwatch and you have to note down the time in your watch. Calculate the time taken by the pendulum to complete 20 oscillation. When it takes 20 oscillation, you have to stop the watch, and then you have to find stop the watch, and you have to find in the watch that how many times it have taken. Then you have to repeat the same experiment 3 or 4 times for different distance. Then you have to record the observation. Here it has given in a table form. You have to write this table. Here first serial number, then second column you have to write the number of oscillation, then stopwatch reading, and initial means where at the mean position. At the mean position, when the string was in the mean position, you have to note down here the time. Then that will be the 0 time in your stopwatch. Then when it completes 20 oscillation, you have to look at your time. It may be 40, it may be more than 40, or it may be lower than 40. So that is depend upon the strength of the string or length of the string. So here the total time taken, here it is. That means what? If it is in 20 oscillation, that means 40 minus initial time was 0, so 40 minus 0, it will be 40.2 seconds. So here you have to put the time taken, then you have to divide the number of oscillation. Here the time is 40.2 seconds and the number of oscillation is 20, so the time period will be 2.1 seconds. So this way you have to make one simple pendulum, and then you have to find out the number of oscillation, and you have to find out the time period. So the result measure of the pendulum is, so by calculating this 4, then you have to find the average. You have to total, you have to plus it and then divided by the number 4, so then you will get the average. So this way you have to do this activity in your copy. Then there is another activity, that is the third activity, to measure the speed of a moving ball. So speed means what? Speed is equal to distance divided by time taken. So you have to for that you have to calculate the distance, then you have to take the then you have to calculate the time. So for this the materials required are what? You have to take one rubber or either a tennis ball, then chalk stick or crayon, then stopwatch or wristwatch. That the procedure here it has given. Here first draw two parallel straight line at a distance of 2 to 3 meters from each other. You can draw these two parallel line in your floor with the help of the chalk or with the help of the crayon. Then take one and any rubber or a tennis ball and roll the ball gently from the line. This is the first parallel line 1, this is the 2. Keep it the ball here and then gently roll the ball gently from this side to this side. Then what will happen, then in another side you ask either your sister or either your brother or either your parents to start the stopwatch at the same time. So when you start at that time, the time will be 0. Then ask your friend or you can ask your brother or sister parent to stop the stopwatch as soon as the ball reaches the, when the ball will reaches the line 2, then you have to stop the watch. Then you have to read the time in the stopwatch and you have to note it down. Then you have the distance, you have to measure the distance between these two lines. Then you have repeat the same experiment for 3-4 times and you have to record all the observation. Here the table is given, first serial number, then stopwatch reading. This is t1 second, that means time 1, time 2, that means t1 is the at the beginning when it is in the 0 time. So here the final time, then the distance traveled by the ball. So here you have to mention the distance. Then average speed means total distance traveled by the total time taken. So you have to, this is the formula I have already given in the previous class. So you have to put v, this small v is the symbol for the average speed, and here if you have distance d divided by t time taken, so you have to mention. So where the ball covers how in, suppose in 2 minutes it's covered 2 meters, then you have to mention it here. So this way you have to find do this activity in your home. For this you have to just need one tennis ball or either rubber ball with the help of the crayon or chalk. Then stopwatch is needed or either your normal watch. So follow the procedure and do this table and then do all the 3 activities in your copy. So these 3 activities is your work for this video. So you have to do this activity in your copy. So thanks for watching.